Welcome, dear listener. Tonight, we step away from the noise of busy schedules, glowing screens, and restless thoughts. Instead, we enter a place where time slows down, and the mind can breathe freely. A quiet forest, washed in gentle rain. This journey is not only about imagination, it is about science, nature, and the way sound and breath guide the body into rest. Tonight, you are invited into a space of calm, a place where you can leave behind the pressures of the day and step into something gentler, slower, and infinitely more soothing. For many of us, especially here in the United States where our days are long, our work is demanding, and our minds are constantly on alert, sleep can feel more like a challenge than a natural rhythm. We often find ourselves climbing into bed with phones still glowing in our hands, our thoughts tangled with unfinished tasks, financial worries, or that endless list of things we should be doing tomorrow. The truth is, your mind was never designed to run this fast for this long, and when bedtime arrives, it doesn't always know how to stop. That is the problem we are here to gently solve together. Imagine, for just a moment, that instead of lying in the dark with a restless mind, you could allow yourself to be carried somewhere else, a place where stillness and rhythm work together to calm your thoughts, a place where science and imagination join hands to guide you into the deep rest that your body craves. Tonight, that place will be a quiet forest under the soothing touch of rain. Step by step, sound by sound, we will walk together into this natural world, and along the way, I will share with you the science of why rain, why trees, and why slow mindful breathing are some of the most effective tools for guiding the human brain into sleep. For thousands of years, human beings have found comfort in the sound of rain. Before there were white noise machines or sleep apps, there was only nature, and nature's lullaby was rainfall. Studies today confirm what our ancestors instinctively knew. The sound of rain falls into a category scientists call pink noise. Unlike the sharpness of white noise, pink noise has a softer balance. It contains deeper, fuller tones that echo the natural rhythms of the world, like the ocean, the wind, and of course, the falling of rain. This sound quality is not random. It is something the human brain recognizes as safe, steady, and predictable. When we hear it, our nervous system responds by slowing down, our heart rate softens, and our breathing becomes deeper. In the forest tonight, this will be the soundscape that carries you. But before we step fully into that forest, I want to acknowledge something important. So many people in America struggle with sleep. The CDC reports that more than 1/3 of adults do not get enough rest at night. That means millions of people are moving through their days with foggy thinking, heavier emotions, and slower bodies, simply because they cannot find the peace needed to drift into sleep. And while medication is often offered as a quick solution, there is something profoundly healing about using nature itself, both real and imagined, to bring the body back into balance. You see, the brain doesn't always know the difference between a real walk in the rain and an imagined one, if the sensory details are rich and immersive enough. That is why tonight, by listening closely and opening yourself to the rhythm of this story, you may discover your body responding as if it were truly walking through a rain-soaked forest. Close your eyes now, if you haven't already, and picture yourself standing at the edge of a woodland path. Around you, the world you left behind, the city, the house, the endless distractions begins to fade. In its place is something quieter, something more ancient. The sky above is soft gray, and the gentle drizzle of rain has just begun. You can hear it striking the leaves overhead, 1,000 tiny taps and rhythms, each one different, but all blending into a soothing chorus. The air is cool against your skin, carrying with it the scent of wet earth, moss, and pine. The soil beneath your feet is darkened by moisture, soft but steady as you prepare to take your first step. This is where our journey begins. The problem you brought with you, the racing mind, the stress, the frustration of lying awake too long, can now be given over to this rain. With each drop, imagine those restless thoughts being rinsed away, absorbed into the earth, leaving your mind lighter, quieter, and freer. You are not required to do anything but listen and imagine. The forest will do the work for you. Rain is not just water, it is rhythm, it is nourishment, and it is a reminder of cycles far greater than our worries. Scientists have found that the repetitive, gentle sound of rainfall can synchronize with brain waves, especially those slow delta waves associated with deep sleep. When you hear the rain tonight, your mind is not only soothed, it is being physiologically guided toward rest. Think of the last time you were truly outside during a rainfall. Maybe it was a summer shower, when warm drops fell on your skin and the air smelled fresh and alive. Or maybe it was a storm you watched from your window, safe and sheltered. The sound of rain against glass, making you feel cozy and calm. That memory lives in your body. When we step into this forest tonight, those same feelings will awaken, not as memories, but as experiences unfolding right now. The gentle drizzle becomes your lullaby, and as it deepens into a steady rhythm, your thoughts soften in its cadence. And yet, this journey is not only about rain. It is about what rain makes possible. It is about the forest itself, alive and breathing, offering a kind of medicine that science is only beginning to measure, but that humans have always known. When you enter a wooded space, even in your imagination, your body responds with a measurable drop in stress hormones like cortisol. Your pulse slows, your immune system strengthens, your mind, so often pulled in 1,000 directions, begins to settle into one single focus, the present moment. In Japan, they call this practice Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing. It is the art of simply being among trees, letting the natural chemicals they release, phytoncides, do their quiet work of lowering stress and easing anxiety. Tonight, as we imagine this rainy walk together, you too will receive the same benefits, because your brain and body are designed to respond to these cues, whether real or vividly imagined. For now, allow yourself to feel the invitation of this path. The forest is not asking anything of you. You don't need to solve problems, plan tomorrow, or replay the events of the day. All of that can wait. Here, in the soft rhythm of rain and the shelter of tall trees, the only task is to walk, breathe, and notice. Notice how your shoulders begin to release tension. Notice the coolness of the air as you inhale. Notice how the drizzle of rain seems to match the quiet beating of your heart. This is the science of relaxation at work. But it is also something more ancient, something human. This is why we are here tonight. This is the problem we are solving together. Not by forcing sleep, not by fighting with your thoughts, but by surrendering them to the rhythm of rain and the quiet presence of a forest. In this space, sleep is not something to chase, it is something that arrives naturally, like the rain itself, steady, patient, and full of peace. Now that we have arrived at the threshold of the forest, I want you to imagine the moment you take your very first step onto the rain-soaked path. Picture the scene clearly in your mind. The world behind you, the buzz of traffic, the weight of your responsibilities, the hum of screens and devices has grown distant, like a radio turned low until the sound fades into silence. Before you is a narrow trail, winding between tall trees, their trunks darkened by the steady drizzle. With your first step, you feel the ground beneath you, soft earth, damp leaves, and the faint crunch of twigs yielding gently under your weight. Pause for a moment, here at the beginning. Let the sensations rise naturally. The air is cooler than you expected, carrying with it the unmistakable fragrance of rain on soil. Scientists call this scent petrichor. It is created when raindrops hit dry ground, releasing oils and compounds stored in the earth. For humans, this smell is more than pleasant, it is deeply comforting. Studies show that the brain associates petrichor with renewal, safety, and growth. Our ancestors learned to welcome it as a sign of life, giving water returning to the land. And so, even now, as you breathe it in, your nervous system interprets it as reassurance. You are safe, and all is well. Take another step. Listen to the sound of raindrops tapping above you, million tiny rhythms blending together. They fall on broad leaves, making a soft pattering sound, then drip down onto lower branches, each drop taking its time before joining the earth. Some drops hit stones and echo with a sharper note, while others land in hidden puddles, creating delicate ripples that expand outward until they disappear. The forest is alive with this music. Unlike the mechanical sounds of the modern world, sirens, alarms, buzzing phones, this soundscape is organic, irregular, and endlessly varied. Neuroscientists have found that the brain responds differently to natural sounds than to artificial ones. Natural sounds, especially water-based sounds like rain, engage the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of the body responsible for rest, digestion, and recovery. That means that even as you listen, your body is unconsciously shifting into a state of calm. As you walk deeper along the path, you notice how the rain creates layers of sound. There is the high, soft hiss of rainfall as a whole. Then there are the individual notes, drops hitting wood, water trickling off branches, the occasional distant splashes rain gathers into streams. Each sound is unpredictable, but together they create something steady, almost like breathing. This is one reason why many people sleep more deeply during rainstorms. The pattern of rainfall mirrors the natural rhythms of human breath and heartbeat. It reassures the body, reminding us of the womb, a shelter of continuity. Tonight you are walking into that rhythm, step by step. Now feel the air itself. Rain changes the atmosphere in measurable ways. The humidity rises, softening the air you draw into your lungs. For many people, breathing humid air feels easier, smoother, almost like silk passing through the nose and throat. Rain also releases negative ions into the air, tiny charged particles produced when water collides with itself and the ground. Though the name might sound ominous, negative ions are actually beneficial. Studies suggest they increase serotonin levels, enhance mood, and reduce stress. When you take your first steps into this rainy forest, you are not just hearing and smelling the rain, you are breathing in a subtle form of medicine, designed by nature itself to soothe your mind and body. Continue along the trail, noticing the way light filters through the canopy. The sky above is muted gray, and yet the forest glows with the richness only rain can bring. Leaves appear brighter, washed clean of dust, their greens deeper and more vivid. The bark of the trees shines with moisture, patterns of moss and lichen standing out in sharp relief. Even the stones along the path seem to gleam. Psychologists have long studied the effect of nature's colors on the human brain. Green, especially when vivid and natural, is associated with calmness, renewal, and balance. Exposure to green spaces, even in the form of images or guided visualization, has been shown to lower stress and improve focus. As you take these first steps, the simple act of surrounding yourself with these tones of green, gray, and brown is already shifting your mental state. Perhaps you pause for a moment, standing still. You notice how the rain has gathered at the edges of your clothing or your imagined umbrella. You feel the tiny droplets brushing against your skin, cool but gentle. Instead of resisting the rain, you allow it to be part of the experience. This acceptance mirrors something essential in the science of mindfulness. When we stop resisting what is happening, when we allow ourselves to notice without judgment, our stress levels drop. The brain shifts from high alert to open awareness. In this forest, even the rain is not an inconvenience, it is a teacher. It shows you how to let go, how to release control, and how to trust that each drop is part of a larger pattern designed for your peace. The sound of your footsteps becomes part of the rhythm. Soft thuds on damp earth, faint crunches where sticks and leaves break beneath you. With each step, your body grows heavier, not in a burdensome way, but in a grounding way. You are not floating in your thoughts anymore, you are here, anchored, supported by the earth. Scientists who study grounding, sometimes called earthing, suggest that direct connection to soil, grass, or stone can reduce inflammation and stabilize mood by reconnecting the body to the earth's natural electric charge. Even in this guided experience, when you imagine your feet pressing into wet soil, you may feel that same sense of connection, as if the ground itself is drawing stress out of your body. And then you hear something new. Beyond the steady rainfall, a deeper note emerges, the slow dripping of water collecting in a hollow log, or perhaps the trickle of a tiny stream fed by the rain. Water always seeks motion, always moving downward, pooling, gathering, flowing. This movement of water mirrors the movement of your thoughts tonight. At the beginning of this walk, your mind may have been restless, darting from one idea to the next. But as you step further into the rain, those thoughts begin to trickle, to slow, to gather into something calmer. Psychologists describe this as entrainment, the way external rhythms can guide and reshape internal rhythms. The rain provides the steady pace, and your mind follows, gradually aligning with it. You notice now that your senses are sharpening. The rain has brought out fragrances you may not have noticed before: the resinous scent of pine needles, the sweetness of wet leaves, the earthy undertone of moss clinging to stone. Smell is one of the most direct pathways to memory and emotion. In the brain, the olfactory system connects straight to the limbic system, the region responsible for emotion and relaxation. That is why scents can be so powerful in shifting mood. As you breathe in this rain-washed air, you may notice an easing in your chest, a lifting of tension in your forehead, a sense of openness. It is not just imagination, it is the biology of relaxation unfolding. With each step, the forest grows quieter, even though the rain continues. The noise of the outside world has completely faded now. No engines, no alerts, no conversations to intrude. Only the timeless sound of water meeting earth. This kind of silence, alive, textured, filled with natural sound, is very different from the sterile silence of a closed room. Studies show that natural silence, punctuated by water and wind, lowers stress far more effectively than artificial quiet. Your brain was built for this soundscape. Your body was designed to find rest in it. And so, the first step into the rain is more than a beginning. It is a shift in state, a transition from the scattered pace of modern life to the measured rhythm of nature. By entering this forest, you are not just imagining, you are participating in a process your body recognizes and welcomes. The rain is cleansing not only the forest floor, but also the restless patterns of your mind. Each drop reminds you that you are part of a larger, slower rhythm, one that has always been here, waiting for you to return as you walk deeper into the rainy forest. The sound of falling water surrounds you completely. It is more than background noise. It is a living presence, weaving itself into every corner of your awareness. The rain has a quality unlike any other sound. It is constant, but never monotonous. Each drop is different, striking leaves, stones, puddles, and branches with subtle variation, creating a complex harmony. And yet, within this variety, there is a steady rhythm, a sense of continuity that soothes the mind. This is not just imagination or poetry. There is real science behind why the sound of rain feels so calming, and why it has been used for centuries as a natural lullaby for restless bodies and minds. Scientists classify rainfall as a type of pink noise you may already be familiar with. The term white noise, which refers to sound containing all frequencies at equal intensity, like the static hum of a television or a fan. White noise can be helpful in masking sudden disruptive sounds, but it often feels sharp, flat, and unnatural. Pink noise, on the other hand, distributes frequencies differently. Lower frequencies are slightly louder than higher ones, creating a richer, deeper sound that feels softer and more balanced. Rainfall is a perfect example of this. When you listen to rain, you are not just hearing random drops, you are hearing a spectrum of sound tuned in a way that resonates naturally with the human brain. Studies have shown that pink noise can enhance sleep quality by increasing the time spent in slow-wave sleep, the most restorative phase of the sleep cycle. During slow-wave sleep, the brain clears toxins, consolidates memories, and restores energy. It is the deepest kind of rest, the kind that leaves you feeling truly renewed in the morning. When participants in laboratory studies listen to pink noise during sleep, their brain waves synchronize with the external rhythm, allowing them to slip more easily into this deep stage. That is part of what is happening as you listen to the rainfall in this forest. Your brain, without effort, is tuning itself to the soundscape around you, finding a natural rhythm that supports rest. But rain does more than create a sound pattern. It also carries an emotional message. Think for a moment about the sound of sudden noise in the city: sirens, car horns, alarms. These sounds are designed to capture attention, to jolt you into alertness, because they signal danger or urgency. Rainfall, by contrast, signals safety. It is steady, predictable, and has no sharp edges. From an evolutionary perspective, our ancestors may have learned that the sound of rainfall meant that predators were less active, fires less likely to spread, and the natural world in a state of calm. And so, even now our nervous system interprets this sound as a cue that it is safe to relax. As you continue your walk, notice how your breathing begins to match the rhythm of the rain. Slow, steady, even. This synchronization between body and environment is not accidental. Researchers studying the effects of natural soundscapes have discovered that the human brain responds differently to water-based sounds than to other environmental noises. Sounds like rain, ocean waves, or a flowing river activate regions of the brain associated with relaxation and deactivate regions tied to stress and vigilance. One study using functional MRI scans showed that participants exposed to water sounds experienced decreased activity in the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for fear and anxiety. Instead, activity shifted toward areas linked to emotion, regulation, and introspection. That is why, when you hear rainfall, you may feel not only calmer, but also more reflective, more connected to yourself in a quiet, gentle way. Now, let yourself imagine pausing on the path, standing still under the dripping canopy. Close your eyes and focus only on the sound. Notice how rain creates a kind of acoustic blanket. The tiny impacts of millions of droplets blur together, masking sharp noises, smoothing the edges of your awareness. This masking effect is another reason rain is so effective at helping people sleep. By covering sudden changes in sound, rainfall protects you from disruptions. Your brain does not have to stay on high alert, scanning for danger. It can let down its guard, knowing that the sound of the rain is both constant and protective. In sleep science, this is known as auditory masking, and it is one of the reasons pink noise is now used in therapeutic settings to support patients struggling with insomnia. But the science of rain is not limited to sound alone. The presence of rain alters the environment in subtle ways that also promote relaxation. Rain cleans the air, removing dust, pollen, and pollutants. It increases humidity, which softens the airways and makes breathing more comfortable. It lowers temperatures slightly, creating an environment that is naturally aligned with the body's preference for cooler conditions during sleep. Researchers have long observed that the human body sleeps best when the surrounding temperature drops slightly at night, mirroring the body's own drop in core temperature as it prepares for rest. Rainfall helps create that natural cooling, nudging your body into a state where sleep comes more easily. There is also the matter of negative ions. When raindrops collide with the earth or with each other, they release these invisible charged particles into the air. Though the science is still being explored, evidence suggests that negative ions can enhance serotonin production in the brain, lifting mood, reducing anxiety, and improving overall mental clarity. This may explain why so many people describe the air after rain as fresh or energizing. Breathing in this rich air while surrounded by the forest is not only refreshing, it is physiologically calming. It gives your body a subtle chemical signal to relax, a signal carried on every breath you take. As you stand in this rainy forest, your senses are engaged fully. The sound of drops tapping on leaves, the sight of wet bark gleaming dark brown against vivid green, the smell of moss, pine, and rich soil, the cool touch of moisture on your skin. Each sense is being quietly soothed. Psychologists call this sensory immersion, and it is one of the most effective tools for grounding a restless mind. When you are fully absorbed in sensory detail, your thoughts cannot wander as easily into the past or future. Instead, they return to the present, where safety and stillness reside. This, too, is part of the science of rain and relaxation, its ability to draw us into the now. The act of listening to rain is also deeply tied to rhythm, and rhythm has profound effects on the human nervous system. Think of the steady beat of a drum in traditional ceremonies, the gentle rocking of a cradle, or the sound of a heartbeat heard from the womb. Human beings are rhythm-seeking creatures. We find comfort in patterns, in repetition, cycles that remind us of continuity. Rainfall offers exactly that, a complex but steady rhythm that reassures us at a subconscious level. Neuroscientists studying music therapy have found that steady auditory patterns can synchronize neural oscillations, essentially guiding brain waves into slower, calmer frequencies. When you hear rain, your brain is not only comforted emotionally, it is being physically guided into the very rhythms associated with rest and sleep. Consider also the symbolic weight of rain. In literature and culture, rain is often a sign of renewal, a cleansing, of a fresh start. We may not always think of these associations consciously, but they influence how we respond emotionally. Rain washes away dust, nourishes soil, and brings life back to plants and rivers. In the same way, when you walk in this forest tonight, the rain is washing away the residue of your day, the tension in your muscles, the heaviness of your thoughts, the stress of your responsibilities. Even without realizing it, your mind associates rain with release, with letting go, with cycles of renewal that promise rest and growth. This symbolic association adds another layer to the physiological effects, creating a holistic experience that quiets both body and mind. And so, as the rain continues to fall around you, you are experiencing more than just weather in a forest. You are engaging with one of the most powerful natural tools for relaxation that science has ever studied. Each drop is sound therapy. Each breath is mood regulation. Each sensation is grounding you more firmly into a state of calm. You are not forcing yourself to relax. You are allowing nature, in its simplest and most ancient form, to do what it has always done for humanity, to bring stillness, to bring safety, to bring the quiet rhythms that guide us towards sleep. With the rain falling softly all around you, begin to notice the presence of the trees themselves. They rise high above you, pillars of green and brown, ancient and silent, their branches stretching wide like arms offering shelter. As you walk deeper into the forest, each step brings you closer to their quiet wisdom. The trees have been here for decades, even centuries, standing through storms, basking in sun, growing steadily year after year. In their stillness, they remind you that time can move differently, that it does not have to be rushed or frantic. Here, among the trees, time slows, and the mind begins to slow with it. Take a breath. The air is thick with the scent of pine and cedar, fresh and resinous, intensified by the rain. This fragrance is not only pleasant, it is healing. Trees release natural compounds called phytoncides, microscopic particles that drift through the air, especially when the forest is damp. When you inhale these phytoncides, your body responds in remarkable ways. Studies from Japan, where the practice of shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing, has been extensively researched, show that phytoncides lower cortisol, the stress hormone that keeps you alert and tense. They also increase the activity of natural killer cells, part of your immune system that helps protect you against illness. Breathing deeply in this forest is more than an act of relaxation, it is a scientific way of nourishing your health. You walk slowly, hearing the quiet rhythm of rain mingling with the sound of leaves brushing against one another. The canopy above catches much of the rain, so that only small drops find their way down to you. Some fall from high branches with a delayed patter, landing on your shoulder or the brim of your imagined hood. Each sound is delicate, unique, and yet part of the same living symphony. It is as if the trees themselves are playing music, a song composed by water and wood. Notice the textures around you. The bark of the trees is rough, darkened by the rain. Some trunks are wrapped in soft moss, rich green against the deep brown wood. If you imagine placing your hand against one of these trunks, you might feel the cool dampness of moss, springy and alive under your touch. That tactile sensation alone is calming. Touch is one of the most direct ways to ground yourself in the present moment, and when that touch is connected to nature, the effect is magnified. Neuroscientists studying sensory grounding have found that contact with natural textures reduces overactivity in the default mode network of the brain, the system that fuels wandering thoughts and worry. By resting your hand on bark or moss, You gently remind your body to return to the here and now, where nothing is required of you but presence. Look upward now, if only in your mind. The branches sway slightly under the weight of rain, droplets clinging to needles and leaves before finally falling. Light filters through the canopy, gray and soft, diffused by clouds and mist. In this dimness, your eyes relax. Bright light can keep the brain alert, signaling wakefulness. Soft, filtered light, on the other hand, tells your body it is safe to release into calm. This is part of the reason dusk and dawn feel so peaceful. The forest at this hour of rain carries the same message. Slow down, rest, let go. You may hear the occasional creak of a tree trunk shifting slightly in the wind, or the sound of a branch releasing its collected rain in a sudden splash. These small, irregular sounds keep your mind engaged just enough to stay present, but not so much that you feel alert. Psychologists call this soft fascination, a state in which the environment holds your attention gently without demanding effort. Unlike the harsh stimulation of screens or city noise, soft fascination allows your mental resources to replenish. As you walk among these trees, your brain is quietly recovering from the constant demands of modern life. You are not trying to relax, you are simply being, and relaxation arrives naturally. Take another breath. The forest air feels cool, damp, and rich. It seems to fill not only your lungs but your entire body. Researchers have found that time in forests increases levels of parasympathetic nervous system activity, the system responsible for rest and digestion. At the same time, sympathetic nervous system activity, the fight or flight response, decreases. This means that your body is shifting into balance, away from stress and toward restoration. Every breath in this forest is a gentle nudge toward equilibrium. You notice how the ground beneath your feet changes as you walk. Sometimes it is soft soil, dark and spongy from the rain. Sometimes it is covered with a carpet of pine needles, releasing their sharp, clean fragrance as your weight presses them down. Each step connects you more deeply to the earth, reminding you that you are supported, held, steady. Even the act of walking at this pace is healing. Studies on slow, mindful walking show that it reduces blood pressure, improves circulation, and enhances mood. When combined with the sensory richness of a forest, the effect is multiplied. You are not just walking, you are engaging in a natural form of therapy that science has confirmed again and again. Perhaps you pause beside a particularly large tree, its trunk wide and gnarled, roots twisting outward like ancient hands. Trees like this have lived through seasons beyond counting, weathering storms, droughts, and years of growth. When you stand beside such a tree, you may feel a quiet sense of awe, a recognition of endurance and stability. Awe itself is a scientifically studied emotion, one that reduces self-focused thought and increases feelings of connection. In moments of awe, the boundaries between self and world soften. You feel smaller, but in a comforting way, part of something vast and enduring. This emotional shift is deeply relaxing, easing the tight grip of anxious thoughts and opening you to calm. As the rain continues, you notice the leaves shining under droplets, each one catching the dim light like tiny jewels. Some drops roll slowly along the veins of leaves before falling, while others remain suspended, trembling with each breeze. Watching these small movements is another form of soft fascination, a reminder of the beauty in slowness. In a culture that often pushes speed, productivity, and constant motion, the trees invite you into another way of being. Their growth is unhurried, their presence is steady, and in walking among them, you begin to match their pace. The forest around you is not silent, but it is peaceful. Birds may still call faintly in the distance, their voices softened by the rain. A squirrel may rustle through wet branches, moving quietly through its shelter. These signs of life add to the sense that this place is whole, balanced, and safe. Your nervous system, attuned to the cues of the environment, registers this balance and responds by settling further. The trees, the rain, the small creatures moving through it, all together, they form an ecosystem that supports not only itself, but you, as part of it. As you continue along the path, you realize that the forest is doing something profound. It is reminding you of your own natural rhythms. Just as trees breathe in carbon dioxide and release oxygen, you too are breathing, exchanging with the world around you. Just as rain nourishes soil, you too are being nourished, your body responding with quiet shifts toward health and rest. The separation between you and the forest grows thinner. You are not an observer here, you are a participant. The science of forest therapy confirms this sense of connection. When people spend time among trees, even imaginatively, they report greater feelings of belonging, less loneliness, and deeper calm. The trees around you stand as guardians, but also as companions. Each one is alive, each one quietly contributing to the balance of the world. By walking among them, you are reminded that you too are part of that balance. You do not have to carry the weight of the world alone. The forest carries it with you. The rain, the soil, the trees, the air, all are working together to restore you, to ease your mind, to remind you that rest is not a luxury, but a natural rhythm woven into life itself. As you walk slowly along the rain-soaked path, the rhythm of your breath begins to catch your attention. It is subtle at first, a natural movement in and out, but here in the forest, surrounded by trees and rain, it begins to feel different. The air is cooler, richer, softened by humidity, and filled with the natural compounds of the forest. Each inhalation feels like a gift, and each exhalation feels like a gentle release. Without effort, you begin to breathe more deeply, more slowly, aligning your body with the environment around you. Breathing is something we often take for granted, something we do thousands of times each day without thought. But science has shown that the way we breathe can shape our mental state in powerful ways. Shallow, rapid breaths common in times of stress signal to the brain that danger may be near, keeping the body alert and tense. Slow, steady breathing, on the other hand, activates the parasympathetic nervous system, often called the rest and digest system. This part of your nervous system tells the body it is safe to relax. It slows your heart rate, reduces blood pressure, and calms the production of stress hormones. Tonight, as you walk through this rainy forest, mindful breathing becomes your bridge into rest. Pause for a moment in your imagination and notice how the rain seems to guide your breath. Each drop falls in its own time, but together they create a steady rhythm. You might choose to breathe in slowly for the count of 4 raindrops, then let the breath out gently for the count of 6 or 7. This pattern, longer exhales than inhales, is known to calm the vagus nerve, a long nerve that runs from the brainstem down into the chest and abdomen, influencing heart rate and digestion. Stimulating this nerve through slow breathing sends a powerful signal to the body: you are safe, you can let go, you can rest. With each inhale, imagine drawing in the freshness of the forest, the oxygen produced by the trees, the phytoncides released by leaves and bark, the moisture that makes the air smooth and nourishing. All of it flows into your lungs. You might even picture the breath as a soft, cool mist entering your body, spreading calm with each moment. With each exhale, imagine releasing tension, as though the rain itself is carrying it away. Stress, worry, racing thoughts, all of them dissolve like mist in the rainfall, leaving your body lighter, freer. The science of mindful breathing has grown significantly in recent years. Researchers studying meditation, yoga, and relaxation techniques have discovered that intentional breathing not only calms the mind, but also alters brain activity. EEG studies show that slow, rhythmic breathing increases alpha brainwaves, the patterns associated with calm, wakeful rest. These same waves are often present in the early stages of sleep, which means that by breathing slowly and steadily now, you are gently leading your brain toward the state it naturally enters as you drift off. This is part of why bedtime breathing exercises are so effective for those struggling with insomnia. By practicing mindful breath, you are rehearsing sleep itself. Imagine now that you pause beneath a wide canopy of branches. The rain above you falls with a gentle patter, creating a kind of shelter where only a fine mist reaches your skin. You close your eyes and focus fully on your breathing. Inhale, the cool, damp air fills your chest. Exhale, tension slips away, melting into the forest floor. Inhale again, feeling the lungs expand like the trees themselves reaching skyward. Exhale slowly, and imagine your body growing steadier, more rooted, like the trunk of a tree, solid and calm in the rain. There is something deeply natural about syncing your breath with the forest. Human beings have always been connected to the rhythms of nature. Our ancestors spent their days outdoors, breathing air filled with the scents and compounds of plants, aligning their bodies with the cycles of sun and season. Today, many of us spend our hours indoors, under artificial light, in rooms where the air is dry and filtered. It is easy to forget the simple act of deep breathing in fresh air. But your body remembers. Your nervous system, evolved over thousands of years in close contact with forests and rainfall, responds immediately when given this chance to reconnect. The breath becomes deeper, the heartbeat steadier, the mind quieter. Some researchers have described this as the resonance effect of breathing. When you breathe at a slow, steady pace, usually around 6 breaths per minute, you create a resonance between your heartbeat, your blood pressure, and your nervous system. Everything begins to move in harmony, like instruments tuning to the same key. This resonance has been shown to improve emotional regulation, enhance heart health, and reduce anxiety. Tonight, in this rainy forest, you are finding your own resonance, guided by the natural rhythm of water falling from the sky. Notice how the rain itself mirrors the act of breathing. Just as breath flows in and out, the rain falls and is absorbed, only to rise again later as mist, cloud, and storm. It is a cycle, continuous and renewing. By breathing mindfully here, you join that cycle. You become part of the rhythm of the forest, each breath an exchange with the trees, each exhale a gift back to the world around you. This sense of connection is more than comforting, it is supported by science. Psychologists studying connectedness with nature have found that people who feel this bond report lower stress, greater well-being, and deeper satisfaction with life. Even in imagination, this connection is real, because the body responds to what the mind vividly creates. If thoughts begin to wander, that is natural. The human mind is designed to drift, to jump from one idea to another. But here, instead of resisting those thoughts, you can let them be like leaves carried on water. Notice them, and then gently return to your breath, the anchor that keeps you steady. This practice of returning to breath is at the heart of mindfulness. Each time you come back, you are strengthening the brain's ability to let go of unnecessary thought and rest in the present moment. This ability is especially valuable at night, when the racing of the mind often keeps sleep out of reach. By practicing here, in this imagined forest, you are training your brain to return more easily to calm when you need it most. You may also notice how your body responds physically. The muscles in your shoulders and jaw soften with each exhale. The knot of tension in your chest begins to loosen. Your stomach feels more at ease, no longer clenched in anticipation. These are the quiet signs that your parasympathetic system is fully engaged. You are shifting from doing to being, from effort to ease. The forest supports this process, offering its scents, sounds, and rhythms as gentle companions to your breath. Now picture your breath not just as air, but as light. Each inhale draws in a soft, silver glow, cool like moonlight on water. Each exhale releases a darker mist, carrying away what no longer serves you. With each cycle, the glow within you grows brighter, steadier, calmer. Visualization like this is another tool supported by science. Guided imagery has been shown to reduce pain, anxiety, and sleeplessness by engaging the brain's sensory regions as though the imagined experience were real. By visualizing your breath in this way, you deepen the impact of the practice, weaving imagination and physiology together. The trees around you seem to respond as you breathe. With each inhale, their branches rise gently with yours, and with each exhale, their roots grow deeper into the soil. You are in harmony with them, part of the same living system. The rain continues its steady fall, like a metronome keeping time. And here you are, breathing with it, breathing with the forest, breathing with the world itself, finding a rhythm that is both deeply personal and profoundly universal. As you continue walking through the rainy forest, your attention drifts toward the streams and rivulets forming along the path. Water has a way of moving with ease, following the slope of the land, curving around roots, sliding over stones, never struggling to find its course. It does not resist the obstacles in its way. Instead, it adapts, reshaping itself to flow around them, continuing forward, always seeking balance and connection with something larger. Watching the rainwater collect and move through the forest floor, you begin to notice how similar this is to the movement of thoughts in the mind. Just as rain is constant in the forest tonight, thoughts are constant in your inner world. They appear one after another, sometimes gently, sometimes forcefully, but always moving. Many people lie awake at night because they cannot stop their thoughts from coming, cannot silence the endless stream. But here in this forest, you begin to see a new perspective. The problem is not that the thoughts exist, just as the problem is not that the rain falls. The problem arises when we try to dam the flow, when we resist, when we attempt to control what is meant to move freely. The sound of water dripping from leaves, gathering into small streams, and finally trickling into the soil creates a natural rhythm. This rhythm mirrors the stream of consciousness in the brain. Neuroscientists describe the stream as a continuous flow, sometimes wandering, sometimes focused, but never still. The default mode network in the brain, the system active when we are at rest, not engaged in a task, creates this ongoing flow of thought. While it can sometimes feel overwhelming, this network is not our enemy. It is simply the mind's way of processing, connecting, and imagining. But just like water, it needs space to move, not barriers to contain it. Standing here in the rainy forest, you are invited to treat your thoughts like streams of water. Imagine them trickling by, each one carrying its own story, its own shape. Some thoughts are small droplets passing quickly, barely noticed. Others are larger currents, strong emotions, or vivid memories that push their way through the landscape of your mind. But none of them last forever. They flow, they shift, they dissolve. Just as no drop of rain remains in one place forever, no thought remains fixed. It comes, it moves, and it eventually disappears. There is something deeply soothing in recognizing this impermanence. Often, when a stressful thought arises about work, about family, about responsibilities, it feels heavy and immovable. Yet in truth, every thought is like water. It will change, it will move, it will pass. By aligning with this truth, you allow yourself to step out of resistance. Instead of pushing against your thoughts or trying to block them, you let them flow. This is the essence of mindfulness practice, a concept supported by countless scientific studies. Research has shown that when people learn to observe their thoughts without judgment, stress levels decrease, emotional regulation improves, and sleep becomes easier. The forest here is offering you the same lesson. Let the water flow, let the thoughts flow. Imagine now that you kneel beside a small stream forming between the roots of a tree. The rainwater has gathered there, moving gently over pebbles, weaving around tiny twigs, carrying leaves downstream. Watch closely. Notice how the water never argues with what lies in its path. It does not say, "This stone is too large. This stick is in my way." It simply shifts, finds another direction, and continues. This adaptability is what gives water its strength. In time, even the hardest rock is shaped by its flow. The mind can learn the same adaptability. When a troubling thought arises, instead of fighting it, you allow yourself to shift gently around it, to find a new direction, and to keep moving. The flow of water is also rhythmic, much like the breath. Scientists studying the effects of flowing sounds, rivers, rainfall, ocean waves have found that they can synchronize with brainwave activity. These natural rhythms help the brain slow down into alpha and theta states, patterns associated with relaxation, meditation, and the transition into sleep. This is why so many people use recordings of rain or rivers as sleep aids. Your mind, tuned to rhythm, begins to follow the steady, predictable flow of sound, letting go of faster, restless patterns. Tonight, as you listen to the forest rain, your thoughts begin to match its rhythm, softer, slower, steadier. Water also has a cleansing effect, not only physically, washing the earth and nourishing the soil, but mentally, as a symbol. Many cultures throughout history have viewed rain and rivers as purifiers, washing away worry, grief, and difficulty. In your imagination, you might choose to let the rain that falls on you carry away stress. Each droplet sliding down your shoulders or resting briefly in your hair can be imagined as a tiny vessel, taking away a fragment of tension. The stream at your feet can carry these fragments further, dissolving them into the wider flow, away into the vastness where they no longer burden you. Science supports the power of such visualization. Guided imagery exercises, where individuals imagine stress flowing out of the body and being washed away, have been shown to reduce anxiety and even physical pain. Here, in this rainy forest, you are engaging in that same practice with nature as your partner. Consider also the way water connects everything. The drop of rain that lands on a leaf eventually seeps into the soil, joins a stream, merges into a river, and perhaps, far away, becomes part of the ocean. Each drop is part of something larger, never lost, always part of the whole. Thoughts, too, are connected. What seems like a random worry often links to other memories, other emotions, forming a web that is larger than any single thought. But just as water never stays trapped in one place forever, no thought remains isolated. It moves, it changes, it joins something wider. When you remember this, it becomes easier to let thoughts flow without fear, knowing they are part of a greater movement that does not define you permanently. Now, let yourself imagine following the path of a single droplet of rain. Watch it fall from the sky, land softly on a leaf, tremble for a moment in its delicate balance, and then slide off the edge. It lands in the soil, joins another drop, then another, until a tiny rivulet forms. That rivulet winds downhill, gathering momentum, till it meets a larger stream. The stream flows into a river, and the river eventually meets the sea. This journey of a single drop is not unlike the journey of your thoughts. Each begins small, often unnoticed. It may grow larger, connect with other thoughts, gather speed, and travel far. But in the end, like water returning to the ocean, all thoughts dissolve back into the wider awareness of the mind. You are the ocean, vast, steady, holding everything without being overwhelmed. The neuroscientist William James once described consciousness as a stream ever flowing, ever changing, impossible to pin down. Modern psychology continues to support this metaphor, recognizing that the healthiest approach to thoughts is not to stop them, but to allow them their movement. Tonight, the forest is teaching you the same truth in the simplest way. Water flows, thoughts flow. Both are natural, both are continuous, and both can be gentle when we stop resisting them. As you continue along the path, rain still falling softly, you begin to feel this lesson settling deep into your body. Your mind no longer clings tightly to thoughts, but lets them pass by like water trickling past stones. Your body feels lighter, your breath steadier, your awareness more open. The flow of water outside mirrors the flow within you, and together, they create a harmony that feels timeless, peaceful, and deeply restful. As you walk deeper into the forest, the rain becomes more than just water falling from the sky. It becomes a living orchestra of sound. The canopy overhead transforms each droplet into a soft note, tapping on leaves, drumming on bark, pooling into puddles with a gentle splash. Each layer of the forest contributes its own voice to the symphony. The high leaves create a steady patter, quick and delicate. The ground responds with deeper, slower tones as drops land in soil or ripple across small streams. The wind occasionally moves through the trees, adding a soft rustle like a breath between phrases. Together, it feels as though the entire forest has become a single, soothing instrument, playing a song designed to quiet the mind. The healing sounds of rain have long been recognized, even before science had the tools to measure them. People instinctively understand that there is something calming about listening to rain, something that slows the heart, lowers tension, and allows rest to come more easily. Modern research confirms what humans have always felt. Studies of natural soundscapes, especially rainfall, show that they can lower cortisol levels, reduce blood pressure, and encourage the brain to shift into slower rhythms associated with relaxation and sleep. It is not only the volume of the sound that matters but also its texture, its unpredictability combined with consistency, a paradox that soothes the brain. When you listen to rain, you notice that no two drops ever fall in the exact same pattern. There is a randomness to it, a natural irregularity. Yet, within that randomness is a kind of constancy. The drops never stop altogether, and the overall sound remains steady. Neuroscientists call this kind of sound non-threatening noise, and it has a unique effect on the brain. Unlike sharp or sudden noises that signal danger, the sound of rain is both continuous and safe. This allows the brain to release its vigilance, to relax the protective guard that so often keeps us awake at night. In the language of science, your sympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for fight or flight, steps aside, and the parasympathetic system, the one that governs rest and recovery, takes its place. Imagine lying in a quiet room while rain falls outside the window. The sound is steady, surrounding you, like a soft blanket woven out of water and air. The edges of your awareness begin to blur. Your breathing naturally slows, matching the pace of the sound. Each inhalation feels as though it is guided by the rhythm of falling rain, each exhalation a gentle release into the soundscape. This synchronization is not just poetic, it is biological. Research on auditory entrainment shows that rhythmic natural sounds can influence breathing and heart rate, guiding the body into states of deeper rest. Here, in the forest, you experience the effect even more vividly. The rain is not recorded or distant, it is all around you, surrounding your senses. You hear it above you, beside you, beneath you, and even within you as your body resonates with its presence. Closing your eyes for a moment, the sound becomes your entire world. The forest disappears, your thoughts drift, and there is only the rain, endless, soothing, and complete. The human brain has a deep connection to water sounds, rooted in evolution. For early humans, the sound of rainfall was not only calming, but also reassuring. It signaled that water was near, that the environment was fertile, that life could flourish. Unlike the sharp crack of a twig or the growl of an animal, the rain meant safety, nourishment, continuity. That evolutionary memory still lives in your nervous system today. Even though you may live in cities filled with machines and voices, the sound of rain still carries the signal of safety. It tells your body, without words, that you can relax, that you can let go. Scientists studying soundscapes use the term pink noise to describe sounds like rain, ocean waves, or rustling leaves. Unlike white noise, which is harsh and uniform, pink noise is balanced across frequencies, more natural to the ear. Experiments with pink noise have shown improvements in memory, deeper sleep cycles, and greater overall restfulness. Rain is nature's perfect pink noise machine, endlessly varied, but harmoniously balanced. When you listen to it, your brain receives both stimulation and comfort, enough novelty to hold attention, but enough predictability to feel safe. This delicate balance is why rain is such a powerful sleep aid. Consider the layers of sound around you now. There is the soft hiss of rainfall against leaves high in the canopy. There is the deeper plunk of drops landing in puddles at your feet. There is the occasional sound of water trickling along a branch, falling in a heavier drop when gravity finally pulls it free. Every sound is unique, but together they merge into a cohesive whole, a chorus without a single conductor, yet perfectly unified. Your ears follow these sounds not with effort, but with ease. The rain gathers your scattered thoughts and gives them a rhythm to follow, gently leading them into stillness. The healing power of rain is not limited to sound alone. Psychologists who study nature therapy emphasize that sound interacts with imagination. As you listen to rain, you often begin to visualize it, the way droplets fall, the way they gather on glass or leaves, the way they move across a landscape. This imagery, combined with the sound, strengthens the calming effect. Guided imagery therapists sometimes play recordings of rainfall while encouraging patients to picture stress dissolving, being washed away by the sound. You can practice the same exercise here in this forest. Imagine that each drop of rain is washing your mind, clearing space, refreshing your thoughts. The sound of rain becomes not only something you hear, but something you feel, cleansing you from within. There is also a profound connection between rain and rhythm. Musicians often speak of rain as a kind of percussion, a natural drummer that never plays the same song twice. Yet, its music is always balanced, always soothing. The rain creates polyrhythms, many layers of rhythm happening at once without ever feeling chaotic. Your brain, which naturally seeks patterns, finds comfort in this subtle complexity. Instead of focusing on a single beat, your mind allows itself to float among the rhythms, drifting into a state of openness. This openness is precisely what allows sleep to arrive. The rain also masks other sounds, a phenomenon known as auditory masking. In modern life, one of the biggest challenges to sleep is noise, traffic, voices, machines, unexpected interruptions. Rain has the unique ability to cover these sounds without silence, creating a natural buffer. When rain falls, the world seems quieter, not because it is silent, but because the rain fills the gaps, smoothing the edges of sound. In this forest, you notice how the rain makes everything else fade: the distant crack of branches, the occasional call of a bird folding them into its wider embrace. This masking effect helps your nervous system settle, no longer alert to every minor sound, but instead cocooned within a steady acoustic environment. As you continue your walk, notice how your body responds to the sound. Your shoulders loosen, your breath deepens, and your thoughts grow slower. The rain becomes not just something outside of you, but something that enters your awareness and shifts it. Each droplet feels like a note in a lullaby sung not for the forest alone, but for you. You are part of its song, part of its rhythm, part of its healing soundscape. The rain does not hurry, and so you do not hurry. It does not force, and so you do not force. It simply falls, and you simply listen. Over time, the sound of rain begins to dissolve the boundaries of your awareness. You no longer hear it as individual drops, but as a field of sound, vast and continuous. This is similar to how the mind, in deep meditation, shifts from individual thoughts to a spacious awareness. The rain teaches you to expand your perception, to hear not just one sound, but the wholeness of sound, not just one moment, but the wholeness of time. In this state, you feel weightless, supported by sound itself, guided gently into rest. The forest, now glistening beneath the rain, feels like an old friend that has shared with you its most intimate rhythms. You have walked among tall trees, felt the softness of moss beneath your steps, listened to the orchestra of rainfall, and let your breathing match its gentle cadence. Now, the path bends, guiding you slowly toward home. The journey does not end with the forest. Instead, it comes with you, carried inside your senses, your breath, your mind, and your body. As you make your way back, the rain continues to fall, softening everything it touches. Leaves glisten with droplets, streams swell with clear water, and the air feels cleaner, lighter, as though it has been renewed. This same renewal is within you. The tension that you carried into this walk has been rinsed away, drop by drop, leaving behind a quiet space where calmness lives. Walking back, you notice that your steps are slower than when you first entered. At the beginning, perhaps your mind carried the weight of noise and thoughts. Perhaps your body was tight, eager to find stillness. Now, your steps feel natural, unforced, as though the forest itself has taught you a new pace. This unhurried rhythm mirrors the cycles of the natural world. Nothing in the forest rushes, yet everything finds its way. Water travels from clouds to earth, trees grow steadily without haste, and rain nourishes the ground with quiet persistence. By aligning yourself with this pace, you discover a truth your body has always known, but often forgets in the rush of modern life, that you are not meant to move frantically, to think endlessly, to strive without pause. You are meant to breathe, to rest, to move gently with the rhythms that sustain life. Returning home through the forest is not simply a matter of direction. It is an integration. You begin to notice how the lessons of the walk filter into your awareness. The rain, which at first seemed only like sound and sensation, now feels like a teacher. It has shown you the value of consistency, of softness, of release. The drops fall without expectation, yet they nourish the soil, feed the roots, and bring clarity to the air. In the same way, you recognize that calmness does not arrive by force, but by allowing. When you stop pressing so hard for control, When you let thoughts drift like droplets, you discover a state of mind where clarity naturally arises. As you walk, the forest begins to thin. The trees grow more spaced apart, allowing patches of sky to open above you. Through the gray veil of clouds, light filters down, muted but steady. The rain softens into a drizzle, each droplet arriving more slowly, as if the storm itself is gently coming to rest. The air smells of wet earth, rich and grounding, reminding you that life always returns to balance. Just as the forest releases rain and then dries again, you too can release stress and return to equilibrium. It is the natural rhythm of both body and world. The return home is not only physical but also mental. You sense how your mind feels clearer than before. Thoughts that once tangled like overgrown vines now feel looser, easier to move through. The rain has rinsed them, and the walk has untied their knots. In this clarity, you recognize how often life's worries come from holding too tightly. Tonight, in the forest, you have practiced loosening your grip. You have allowed yourself to be guided by something larger than your own will. The rhythm of rain, the patience of trees, the softness of moss, and in doing so, you have discovered that clarity does not come from effort alone, but from letting go. Science echoes this truth. Studies on mindfulness and nature immersion show that time in natural environments reduces rumination, the repetitive cycle of negative thoughts that so often keeps people awake at night. When you immerse yourself in a sensory experience like walking in rain, your brain shifts from analytical thinking to experiential awareness. Instead of replaying old stories or anticipating future worries, you become absorbed in what is here now. This shift engages different neural networks, allowing the mind to reset, to recover from overactivity. What you feel on this walk is not only poetic, but measurable. The release of stress hormones, the slowing of heart rate, the recalibration of brain rhythms. Clarity, then, is not a vague idea, it is the body returning to balance. The forest path winds gently, leading you to a familiar clearing. Here, the rain gathers into a shallow pool, its surface rippling with circles that spread and vanish, only to be replaced by new ones. Watching the ripples, you reflect on the nature of calmness. It is not the absence of movement, but the presence of harmony. Even as the rain continues to fall, the pool remains peaceful. The ripples do not disturb its essence. They are part of it. In the same way, calmness does not mean that life will be without noise, without challenges, without change. Calmness means that you are able to hold all these ripples without losing your sense of stillness. You breathe in deeply, filling your lungs with the cool, damp air. The breath feels easier than before, fuller or natural. Perhaps at the start of your walk, your breath was shallow, held tight in your chest. Now it moves freely, expanding into every part of you. Breath is the bridge between forest and home, between rain and rest. It is the rhythm that connects body to mind, outside to inside. With each inhale, you carry the freshness of the forest within you. With each exhale, you release what no longer needs to remain. The clarity you feel is born of this simple exchange, repeated endlessly, quietly, like rain itself. As you walk further, the familiar shapes of home begin to appear in your imagination. Perhaps you picture a doorway, a warm room, a soft bed waiting for you. Yet this time, you carry something more than just your body back home. You carry the forest within you. The sound of rain lingers in your mind, steady and soothing. The image of glistening leaves remains behind your eyes. The feeling of earth beneath your feet continues in your muscles. You realize that you do not have to be in the forest to return to it. The memory, the sensation, the clarity can be recalled whenever you need. Rain may not always fall outside your window, but it can always fall within your imagination. This is the gift of the walk, the ability to carry calmness into everyday life. In moments of stress, you can recall the sound of rain, letting it soften the edges of your thoughts. In times of restlessness, you can remember the patience of trees, how they stand without hurry, how they endure storms and sunlight alike. In nights when sleep feels far away, you can close your eyes and imagine moss beneath your feet, water trickling through branches, droplets falling in rhythms that guide your breath. The clarity and calmness you found here are not temporary, they are seeds planted within you, ready to grow whenever you return to them. The drizzle fades even more as you approach the forest's edge. Now only occasional drops fall, one landing with distinct presence. The world feels quieter, as though the storm has completed its work. You step into this quiet with a sense of gratitude, knowing that the rain has not only nourished the earth, but has also nourished you. Your journey through the rainy forest has become a gentle return to yourself, to a part of you that is always connected to nature, always capable of calm, always open to clarity. And so, our walk comes to rest. The rain has softened, the forest has whispered its lessons, and your breath has settled into an easy rhythm. What began as a restless search for quiet has unfolded into a gentle discovery that calmness is not something far away, but something that lives within you, waiting to be remembered. The forest has given you more than sound and imagery. It has given you a way of being. Like the trees, you have learned the strength of stillness. Like the rain, you have discovered the healing power of release. Like the moss beneath your feet, you have felt the comfort of grounding, steady and supportive. And like the open sky above the branches, you have remembered that there is always space, always light, even behind the clouds. Now, as you drift toward rest, you carry this forest with you. Its rain becomes the rhythm of your breath. Its calm becomes the rhythm of your heart. Its clarity becomes the ease of your thoughts. No matter where you are, no matter what the day has brought you, this quiet forest remains a place you can return to simply by closing your eyes, slowing your breath, and letting yourself be carried by the gentle sound of rain. Sleep is not something to force, but something to allow. Just as the forest allowed the rain to fall, you allow your mind to let go. You do not have to chase rest, you only have to receive it. Tonight, as you sink into comfort, know that you are safe, that you are supported, that you are part of the same rhythm that guides the trees, the rain, and the stars. And as your body softens, as your thoughts fade, may you drift as gently as a drop of rain, returning to the quiet earth, finding peace in every breath, and resting deeply in the calm you now carry within.